I'm Domino SNK.
I'm Bam of the People.
And I am Bombrider.
Yep, and today we're doing our Emmett podcast for the upcoming fall patch that Sony Santa Monica is doing for PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. We have a bunch of Emmets, well, both of them which are currently unavailable. So we have one of them available though, which is Bombrider, and he has compiled notes between the other two in question, Jamie Allover and Cal. So yeah, so going right at that, Bomb, can you tell us like what Emmett's typical playstyle is, as well as any matchups he does pretty well in and ones he does pretty poor in?
Okay, so Emmett is probably the closest thing we have to a pure zoning character. His gameplay style is he wants to be ideally as far away from everybody else as possible. Like, he wants to be on the other side of the map, throwing his projectiles and just keeping them away, and whenever they get in, just knock them away full screen again. He's very defensive, and he actually he benefits from stalling. So the longer you leave him alone, the more powerful basically gets, because he can build his basically his base up, and he can build his AP with the AP generator. In terms of difficulties, he has difficulty dealing with anti-zoning characters, characters that basically just out-zone him, which there are a few characters that do that, but not too many. Isaac, Cole, and to some extent Drake. But there's also characters with what I call lopsided risk versus reward ratios, short characters, and characters with landmines, because they can put landmines on top of his locker. So, going into his matchups, so most of the matchups he has that are in his favor, he doesn't usually dominate them. I believe the only characters he absolutely dominates right now is Jack and maybe Big Daddy. That's what Cal tells me. But other than that, his matchups are not going to go any worse than 6.5, 3.5. But even Radic and Toro, they actually have a fighting chance against him. It's still in Emmett's favor, but he doesn't dominate them.
Right.
He also has an advantage against Jericho. I believe Parappa, Sweet Tooth, and Hayashi are actually 5-5 matchups for Emmett.
Right.
And his matchups with Evil Cole, Ratchet, and Sackboy are probably fairly balanced. Like, it ranges between either 4-6 or 6-4. It can go either way, really. I still need to experiment more with that matchup.
Right.
But so those are his good matchups. But in terms of bad matchups, it's kind of the other way around, to where when he loses matchups, he kind of gets dominated, because this is really the problem with Emmett. It's not that he's a bad character; he's just kind of outclassed right now. So
Isaac, Drake, maybe Sir Daniel.
I've never tried that matchup, actually, to be honest. But I actually think it might be in Emmett's favors. You have to use the rifle loadout. That's another thing about Emmett is every single matchup you need to use the right weapons. If you go in against Toro, even though it's in Emmett's favor, if you go in against Toro with the rocket loadout, you're probably going to lose. You want to use the shotgun and rifle loadout.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so going off of that, it seems that most of his matchups are loadout based. Let's start just getting into his moveset then. That's okay.
All right.
Okay, so Bomb, could you tell us about? Let's go through his squares. Could you tell us about his neutral square?
Okay, so a lot of people actually don't know this about Emmett's neutral square, but it is actually as fast as Cat's neutral square.
Yeah, I do know that. It's ridiculously fast. Probably one of the best punishments.
So, yeah. So, there are moves in this game that can only be punished by Emmett and Cat because they're so fast. Like Cat's neutral square, that can only be punished by those two characters. It is so much faster than all the other moves in the game right now. So
crazy.
Yeah, The problem is with it is that's pretty much all it does. It's a punishing move, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's completely unsafe if you use it. It has very little to no range.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that said, it probably does need a nerf. It needs to be slowed down to be a little closer to some of the other characters' fastest decks, like Dante, Kratos, and Parappa.
Right.
There's actually already talk about reducing their startup time. So.
Okay, so what would you exactly do to this move then, Bomb? Since like you were stating earlier, the other characters' fastest jabs are being toned down as well. Would you just make it Emmett's neutral square just along the same speeds as those will be like post patch as well?
Yeah, I would do it post patch. Like if.
Right.
But in compensation, I think you'd have to increase the hitboxes just a little bit because,
right.
Like I said, there are moves in the game that only Cat and Emmett can punish, but at the same time, there are moves that other characters, slower startups, can punish, but Emmett can't punish because of how short the range is.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
so just,
right.
I don't know, balance it out a little between the two.
Yeah, I think that's a good fair trade. So you can have some punishability and stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so let's go in. Alright, going from that, let's go into his forward square, the weird punch thing.
Yes. The punch.
Yeah.
The punch that everyone thought would be broken.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this move also surprised me when I was testing it. Going back to Emmett and Cat being the only characters that can punch certain moves, this is another one of those moves. Only Cat and Emmett can punish this move right now. But with that said, it has an extremely slow startup. So I was talking with Cal, and we both kind of believe that this move should be made like neutral on block. Right now, it leaves him at disadvantage. Yeah. What do you think about that?
So it gives him. Let me just clarify it. So the move has a extended startup frames, correct? But the move can only be punished by Cat and Emmett currently.
Right, but I guess if they were to be nerfed post-patch, even they wouldn't be able to punish it. But it's still like, I think it has over 20 frames of startup. So
right.
I think this would help. I mean, it makes it hard to use this move when every other move in the game can pretty much beat him out. Right. So I think it'd be fair if both players were left at the same frames after blocking it.
So then you would just have the move. Then it would be it would still have its initial startup frames, correct? However, as you do it on block, then it's something that he would actually be in a neutral, or given the nerfs that will happen with other characters' jabs, he would be at a somewhat advantageous position for throwing out that move. Yeah, but not too much. I mean, given the fact that it is Emmett, he's not going to receive all that much from that advantage in the first place. So. Yeah.
His melee is very lackluster right now.
Right.
So, okay, so basically all I want for Emmett's forward square is to just increase the block stun. Just a neutral and block for both players.
Alright, I mean...
You get that?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I think that'd be fine. Just like, charge up move, at the very least, just leave it neutral for both on block.
Yeah.
So that, shenanigans don't happen.
Exactly. And I mean, it is a move, even regardless. Emmett as a character isn't get that much off, having something with that kind of block stun. And it is something, as you said before, as long as it keeps the startup frames that it currently has, then I think it would be good. It would be kind of move that if you guess opponent's going to be going this particular way, and you don't know necessarily what you can do, at least maybe you can get some kind of setup out of getting them with that block stun. So it would be a move to kind of set up things rather than get some full-on punish, which he's really not going to get unless he actually lands the move and he has a particular loadout. So I think that's a good trade.
Okay, so moving on, let's hit his down square. You can also mention the aerial version since the explosion changes. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, so. For his ground down square, there's pretty much no use for this move right now. It's very slow. It has a very bad hitbox, and it was pretty unsafe from what I've been able to tell. The change I would do for the ground version of this move is to increase the area of effect. Not necessarily to make it a good combat move, but I want to use this move as a way of clearing out landmines while staying unharmed. So basically, a big problem I've been having is people put landmines over my lockers, and it takes a bit of time to basically get rid of them so I can, get my weapons that I need.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just like this to have more area of effect just to clear this landmines out.
Okay. Does that include the aerial version as well, or?
Okay, so the way that the area version works is basically the higher up you go, the more powerful the attack. So if you go from the max height, it's a 30 AP attack, and it launches everybody away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And the closer to the ground, it only results in a horde knockdown. But the problem is when you use it from like the maximum height, not only is it extremely telegraphed, but it's also extremely unsafe. Like even more so than other like stomp attacks, like say Cole's air down square.
Right.
This one's extremely unsafe. So what I would do with that one is not necessarily make it safe, but make it so that if it's blocked, you don't die for it. So because some characters can just raw super you on block. Because the way I imagine this is supposed to be used is supposed to be a crowd control move.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have like 3 opponents fighting in one area, the problem
is something akin to like the Evil Cole's aerial version of like pretty much the same thing.
Right. Except I guess his gives a combo, but
in the same sense of like what it does. It's supposed to be a crowd control. It just he crashes down and bloom.
Yeah. But the problem is, if even one person in that group blocks your attack, you're pretty much dead.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying to make it safe on block, just completely safe. Just tone down the recovery just a little bit, because it's already a hugely telegraphed move because you have to go so high up in the air just to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically all I would do with that move.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's definitely fair. Emmett doesn't get that much mileage out of the move in the first place, so.
Yeah.
That and the variable AP is he had a 30 AP move too, so if they're gonna try to do something silly on like landings, then 30 AP, and he'll still get 15 on block even. So.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last square to talk about, his up knife. Go.
Okay, so this is basically Emmett's combo attack. This is where it's a lot of his AP. Usually it's up throw into up square, and then jump up square again. The problem is it has a difficult time working on smaller characters. Like the first hit will connect, and then the second and third hit will whiff every time. So what I like to see for this done is just make the hitboxes for the second and third attacks a little bit better, just so if the first hit connects, the second and third hits connect as well. Also, I want to reduce the recovery after the third strike by about 5 frames, just to make follow-ups a little easier, because right now the following up to get the next set of hits is pretty strict right now.
No, that seems fine. The smaller characters have always had this weird slight advantage just for being slightly small, but being small and dodging a hit is one thing, but being small and being hit, then falling out of the subsequent mini combo of a move is always been kind of dumb. So
right.
I'd be on board with just make I guess I don't know, either I guess it would be more along the lines of if the smaller characters got a bigger hitbox, then this wouldn't need to be tweaked, but if they don't, then just increase the hitbox for this move then. Just so I guess it would be in front and up to his a little where his waist is, since I imagine that's where the smaller characters would fall out.
Yeah, and I know from experience as well that if you do that said move and then do fall out and they say they down tech, a lot of times that could be you getting killed simply for trying to do one of the kind of quintessential combos in Emmett's game. So yeah, definitely to extend that or enlarge that hitbox so it actually connects would actually be a good tool for him, and I don't think it's overpowered at all.
Nope. Okay. Since his triangle moves all change, let's just go into his loadouts. They're all basically his loadouts, his circle buttons. Let's start off with his neutral circle.
Okay, his neutral circle is the AP generator.
Mm-hmm.
So this move has an interesting property. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not. It blocks certain kinds of projectiles. Well, actually, it blocks exactly 3 projectiles. It blocks Radix sniper. It blocks Drake's Magnum, and it blocks Ratchet sniper.
Right.
So I kind of feel like he kind of needs this because especially I know this is gonna sound weird, but he needs it particularly against like Radic, because otherwise he would if he puts his turret down, that's basically a free shot for Radic to take against the turret, and he gets 30 AP, and Emmett still has recovery to the point where he didn't have enough time to pull out his weapon. So, Radic basically this AP generator basically allows him to buy himself time against Radic to get the weapons he needs, because it's just full screen projectile basically. But at the same time, I remember there was a mention that this also blocks allied projectiles.
Right.
Maybe they could adjust it so that it only blocks the opponent's projectiles.
What about swapping out the invincibility on the AP generator and giving it to the turret instead? Because, all those other characters have tools to break the turret. I mean, they'd obviously have to get in closer, which, but, they'd get in closer, but the turret can shoot back, and Emmett can also provide supporting fire to the turret, as opposed to the AP generator, where once it's out, well, nothing they can do about that. So it'd be more along the chance of giving them a fighting chance, as opposed to, a swap, since, well, as always, the turret could always be called down again upon refresh, so...
Right.
Making the turret immune to the snipers in the Magnum, so they do have to use different moves to destroy it.
So this was actually something that Cal was talking to me about. I was actually about to mention this.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like this would make the turret too strong, maybe. But if they were to remove it from the AP generator, I guess that'd be... Yeah. It'd be a fair trade-off, but... I'm just a little worried it might be too strong against Radic.
Radic can. Let's see. Well, the turret doesn't shoot like rapid fire.
A big thing that a lot of Radic players use against the turret is the grenade launcher. So, I guess that would work. But I'll accept it.
I think as long as the character has another option to defeat the turret, such as grenade launcher, then I think it's a fair switch. Whereas right now, if you have the AP generator, as Dom was saying and you were saying, if you just set that thing down and also you're immune to it, in tandem with going ahead and you can put out the turret and whatnot too, I think would be dangerous. So to have that as kind of one thing where you have to destroy and then you would be okay and they would be free to still do their things, I think would actually make it more balanced.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess it kind of makes sense too.
I guess that goes kind of in tandem with the AP. I guess the turret and the thing go in tandem with each other. I know there's a slight glitch with the turret, but that can be mentioned later. Just to finish off the AP turret before we go fully into the turret. How much AP does the AP generator make?
It gives 50 AP.
Yeah. So let's just go completely into the turret. Is there anything changes you would do to the turret besides the aforementioned, perhaps just swapping out the sniper invincibility from the AP generator and applying it to the turret?
Okay, so this is something that pretty much all the Emmett mains agree about. Making it so that instead of awarding the player for attacking the turret, the player that destroys the turret should just get 30 AP rather than... this will remove, like, you hit the turret with a 20 AP attack, then you hit it with a 30 AP attack, then you get 50 AP off the turret. Just make it instead so that you only get AP from destroying it.
Oh, I getcha. So, like, in a 2 situation, let's say it gets, it's in the middle of the field, character A hits it with a 25 AP thing, player B hits it with, like, a 10, but he would just get the 30. Only player B would get the AP for it, correct?
Right.
Okay, no, I'm on board with
that.
that.
Definitely makes sense. I mean, especially the fact that, like, a lot of people at this time period, they can go ahead and using that knowledge, they can go ahead and, as you said, combo the turret and get, extraordinary amount of AP.
Yeah, because a 20 AP hit, a 20 hit on the turret, and a 5 plus a 30 makes it so that the turret can give a maximum of 55.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy. For like, I mean, I understand there's supposed to be risk reward ratio, but there should never 55 for hitting just a block is just really silly. So basically, it would just be rather than awarding AP upon being hit, the turret would only award AP upon exploding. So
right,
yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Alright, so that was neutral, that was turret. Alright, could you tell us about his 2 loadout boxes then, since they're essentially the same?
Basically the big thing is, like I said earlier, Emmett has a lot of trouble against characters with high mobility.
Mm-hmm.
He knocks them away full screen, and then they're right back in his face immediately. He also has the problem in dealing with basically any character on smaller stages, like Dojo or Fight the Small One.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the idea is to just make the loadouts come out less startup and less recovery. Just come out faster, basically. Maybe just make it come down faster. Just keep the frames for Emmett actually summoning it. It's also worth mentioning that even when it comes down, he still has to perform the loadout. So I mean, that's additional animation. I don't want to reduce that because of this technique he has called the loadout cancel. That would make it too strong.
So could you go into a little bit more detail about this loadout cancel then?
So the loadout cancel is you perform an attack right next to your locker. You have to be next to your locker, and then you press L1, which is basically the item pickup button.
Mm-hmm.
You press that button and you go into your loadout, cancel your loadout animation. So you're basically trading the recovery frames for the startup frames for the loadout.
Right.
So for certain moves, like say the forward triangle for the rocket loadout,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically the rocket launcher, the startup frames for performing the loadout is actually less than the recovery of the rocket. So this allows him to have a better zoning game, but only while he's right next to his locker. And it also lets him refill his ammo as much as he wants.
Right. And so far, this cannot be this can't be used in a way to turn random matchups into no, this is completely his favorite just solely because of this, correct?
Yeah, it definitely adds to his gameplay, but
I mean, it wasn't going to change anything against him regardless, correct? That's kind of like the TLDR.
Right.
Okay.
There's also another change that I think Cal wanted me to mention about lockers. Me personally, I'm indifferent towards this idea, but I would accept it. Basically, he wants it so that when you call down his rocket loadout or the shotgun loadout, if there's a landmine in the area, it's to clear it out. But do not give the move a hitbox. Just make it so that it clears out landmines.
So basically, landmines would disappear if you throw down a loadout on it.
I guess it would cause it to explode.
I mean,
that's.
Like you mentioned, if Emmett gets his aerial his down square radius larger so that it clears out mines, I think this change would be unnecessary. But if that were not to happen, I'd be on board with the loadouts doing that instead.
Either one would be a good one, good option to help him.
I'd accept one or the other. Both might be a little too much, in my opinion, but I'm definitely on board for one or the other.
I'll take either one.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now that we finished with his circles, let's get into his triangles, since he has 3 different versions. Let's start with the rifle. So rifle, please.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and say that his neutral triangle, his up triangle, and his down triangle are perfect the way they are. You don't need any changes.
Okie dokie.
But there is an issue with Emmett's forward triangle. So right now, it's basically another one of these rapid fire attacks. Emmett's is technically the weakest of them, as in between his 3 bullets, he gets 10 AP out of it, and it also has the shortest range despite the startup this move has. But I'm fine with all that. The problem that I have with this move is if you hit someone up close with this move, you are actually left at disadvantage to the point where it's only possible by Cat and Emmett. So this is up close. I kind of feel I would like it to be to where if you hit, increase the hit stun on the move so that if you hit at the closest point, Emmett and the opponents will be left at neutral frames. Not advantage, because I don't want to create a scenario where you have a turret behind you, you do the full triangle, and you just sit there and loot them with the turret.
And Emmett becomes the king of mix-ups for no unnecessary reason.
Right. So I just want it to be neutral on hit up close. Obviously, the further away you are, it becomes advantage, but I don't think it'd be
just up close. It's just kind of weird. It's like I shot you point blank, and
so now you hit me in the face. Yeah.
Right.
That's not cool. Okay, so that's for his ground version. His air version works a little differently, to where he basically just fires a bunch of projectiles.
It's a spray.
He sprays. I love this move. This is one of my favorite moves in the game. The only problem with this move is if you hold it down for its full duration, the last 2 bullets, instead of doing 5 AP like all the other bullets, it will do 2 AP per shot, and they will cause a twitch reaction. In other words, it doesn't cause a stun. And all the other bullets don't do this. I think this might be like a coding error.
I mean, yeah, so basically it'd just be like, just, fix whatever causes that, just make it do what the other bullets do, since it seems more like it's just an oversight or a glitch, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just, pump those up back to 5, give them the same reaction, and everyone's good.
Yep.
Okie dokie.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, so let's move on to his rocket loadout then.
Alright, his rocket loadout. The rockets give out 30 AP, and the grenades give 30 AP. Personally, I think this moveset is perfectly fine the way it is, with the exception of one change I would do with the super. Cal does have a different opinion about the grenades. I do disagree with this, but I will mention it. Cal wants it to where the grenades, instead of causing an eject reaction, it causes a reaction similar to, when you hit someone with the turret on its landing.
Oh, where they pop up?
Yeah, they pop up. So what this will do is, well, first of all,
it changes the dynamic of how he would play, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would let him more combos, but at the same time, it would leave the opponent closer if Emmett decides not to capitalize upon this.
Well, also, the big reason why I think Cal wants this is because the way grabs work in this game is, this is actually not a well-known fact, but if you grab someone and you're hit by an attack, you usually just armor through it. Right. A lot of people believe that it's 30 AP attacks that break grabs, but in reality it's attacks that cause the eject reaction. So that'd be like Parappa's boombox or Reddick's sniper, or in this case Emmett's grenades. So what this will do is make it so that people can grab through Emmett's grenades and just completely be unfazed by it. I feel like this is, similar to how, like, let's say Sweet Tooth. His way of dealing with grabs is to air a neutral square, and then you get a combo from that, or a kill confirm.
Right.
With Emmett, I feel like this is how you deal with grabs. You bait them into grabbing you, and then you hit them with a grenade you placed before they grabbed you. But usually you do this by bouncing the grenade heads off the wall.
Right.
But, it's just two different opinions. This Cal's idea would make it so that you get more combos, and it would also allow you to combo into Emmett's level 2 every single time you get hit by a grenade. So,
I kind of like that idea because, like, you mentioned the loadout cancel. With the loadout cancel, it gives Emmett the, it helps him restock his cache of grenades, so he can throw out bouncing Betties better. So it just seems kind of like a counterbalance to me. I'd be fine with that. If it stayed the same, I'd be cool with it too.
Well, keep in mind that I mentioned earlier that if you perform the loadout cancel while doing the rocket, you're actually, you're doing it faster. But if you're throwing grenades and doing the loadout cancel, you're actually taking longer than if you just threw the grenade.
Oh.
Right.
So, basically the way I see it is Emmett is a zoning character, and he has to stand his ground. So the opponent should be fearing these grenades. They shouldn't just be able to walk up and grab them and just, oh, that's it.
Well, I don't think that scenario is like, I don't think anybody would still like run up to throw, since, well, they would have to. Well, depending, I guess, on what character matchup, like there would be a turret, and Emmett would still be throwing out rockets, or I guess he would be, if he's throwing these bouncing betties, he would be throwing rockets.
Right. And keep in mind too that since the majority of the cast right now, because usually you go up and grab him, you would initiate. You would grab him if you were able to initiate a good combo, or in particular some characters go ahead and do a level 1 confirm. But obviously, and this kind of, in terms of the buffs and nerfs that have been previously given at this time, then no one would really be able to do that as effectively. So even if they got a grab on him, they wouldn't be getting as much reward as they tend to of stock right now.
Think of it like this. There's still 30 AP grenades, so
right.
Like, even if they do get hit during, even if they grab Emmett during the thing, you still get the 30 AP since they got hit by the grenade, but it just won't eject them. Since if it changes, eject properties, I'm not really sure what to call it. Reaction property.
Yeah, it's eject reaction. Well, for me, sending them away full screen is basically the big part of why I use this. I want to push them away to give myself time to basically analyze the situation,
right.
Pull out any lockers I still don't have, or my turret, refresh my turret, and reload my ammo. This change would make it a little more difficult to do that, though. It's basically...
It would allow Emmett 2 options, though. He can, if he doesn't need to refresh his cache, like, for instance, he threw out just one grenade, he can go for the combo, or he can go collect the, or he can refresh his cache. That's how I'm seeing it, on top of the, because, it does kind of, like, suck if you grab the opponent, but this bouncing Betty came out, like, oh no, and it ejected you before, he could lose AP. It's just kind of like one of those things, so it's like it'd be exchanging the distance for options. If that makes sense.
I guess that's one way of looking. It's basically going to be an agree to disagree situation. I'm very on this side, and he's very on this side, but I just wanted to mention it since he's not here.
That's perfect.
Right,
that's perfectly fine.
Bomb, how, given if the nades had that kind of reaction, that hit reaction, would Emmett still be able to combo into an air neutral square or something? Is that the intention of him being able to combo into something from it?
Well, what this would do is would allow Emmett to go into his up square square, his up square combo, which also causes an eject reaction just the same. I guess he would get more AP from it, but again, you'd have to land back to the ground to go back to your position to. It does give you less time. Basically, it gives you more AP, but it gives you less time. And,
right.
I prefer the more time scenario.
Oh, okay. So this would be something that would be more upon like the lines of if Sony Santa Monica just like pick and choose, I guess. If they decide to do something with it, all right. If they don't decide to do it with it, all right. One of those scenarios.
Yeah, it's basically two different preferences of how me and Cal want things to go. But I guess he'd still be. I mean, it can go either way. Yeah. So it's up to Santa Monica.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to give both opinions on that.
That's perfectly fine and acceptable. Okay, so that would. All right, so that was Bouncing Betty. All right, so let's go into his final loadout, the shoddy loadout.
Okay, let's start with the shotgun attacks then.
Okay.
So I was talking about Emmett's neutral square combo being the same speed as Cat's. Emmett's shotgun is basically the same thing. It's just as fast as Cat's neutral square, and so it probably needs a speed tone down as well, just like his neutral square.
What about making it as slightly, I guess maybe like a frame or two faster than Sweet Tooth, since Emmett does have to like get the shotgun as opposed to Sweet Tooth. What about just making it something akin to like that in terms of like speed?
Right. I mean, it would be fair if it was a little faster because he does have to work towards getting it. Mm-hmm. But one thing I want to mention is, despite the animations, Emmett's shotgun is extremely different from Sweet Tooth's shotgun, to where Sweet Tooth's more about the hitbox of the shotgun, but it's slower and more unsafe than Emmett's. But Emmett's shotgun is it's extremely fast and it's also safe on block against the entire cast. So it probably could be a little faster, just a tad bit faster than his neutral square, just so it's worth it to get this move. But another thing I'd want to change about this move is actually something you mentioned to me, Domino, is stretching the hitbox a little bit lower, just so he can hit like shorter characters. Like, just take just for example, Sly Cooper. If he goes into the barrel, Emmett cannot hit him with forward shotgun. He ducks under it, and it's kind of a bad scenario.
Oh yeah, it's just I don't know. I've always believed that it's silly for like here's a move that covers his mid range, except silliness reasons. It can't hit this character because of weird hitbox decisions. So it's like these characters get a free pass for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I just never believed in that.
Yeah, the short characters. This is why I mentioned earlier that short characters give Emmett a little trouble. It's because mostly because the hitbox and shotguns are just not. They're not hitting with a. I mean, a lot of characters can just duck under this attack.
Right, and I mean that definitely makes sense too, because obviously, if someone's using a shotgun, the whole idea of a shotgun is to actually sprays its bullets. So if it's, it should be able to hit a character who is short. Right. So I definitely think that should be improved on it. And overall, as a move in terms of like its speed and whatnot, it is something that you have to work for, and it is pretty much, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, but it is basically, his close range. It's what gives him all his close range options in terms of fighting the character.
Yeah, this is pretty much his close. Like the way I look at it is the loadouts all give different ranges of what you want to fight. The shotgun is close to mid range. Rocket is mid to long range, and the rifle is basically just mid range.
Right.
So this is to help him with his close ranged options. You're correct about that.
Right.
Okay. And obviously for aerial, would the aerial also need a slight hitbox increase it towards the bottom, or in the aerial it's kind of more like, all right, just reposition your height.
Yeah, I would change the properties of all the shotgun attacks just to be consistent. Like, it's to have a consistent hitbox for the up triangle, forward triangle, and down triangle for both the ground and air versions.
Okay.
But you slow them down too, so it evens out.
Okay, so it would be more like. Okay, so I guess basically that's the main issue with all 3 shotguns, correct? Though it's just hitbox.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Hitbox and then slight startup increase.
Increase. Yes. Okay, so this is another scenario where Cal and I have different opinions. I'm going to go ahead and mention my opinion first. Then I'll mention what Cal wants. So right now, when you throw this and it hits the ground, it acts as a landmine.
Right.
This is actually something Cal made me aware of that I was somehow I've never noticed this before. But once the landmine is on the ground, it becomes indestructible. And not only is it indestructible, it's also intangible. So if you throw a projectile at this mine, it travels right through the landmine.
Wow.
Yeah, this. So my idea is to make this destructible, just like all the other landmines. So Cal's idea is to leave the landmine intangible, but reduce the AP gain from 30 AP to 20 AP, but only while it's on the ground. So we have different opinions on this.
Yeah,
but clearly something needs to be done, though.
Yeah.
Since intangible landmine is just like what?
Yeah, I think definitely bomb. I mean, obviously Cal's not here to defend himself, but I think honestly, in terms of what you were talking about, making it destructible, I think is a good idea. I mean, yeah, it's a good 30 AP move. I know myself because I do play a little of Emmett. I also kind of use this at times. Throwing it down on the ground and it's intangible landmine. In tandem with a character who has, a turret and all these other options. I mean, it's a pretty strong option. Even if it was at 20 AP, as people progressively learn more and more about how to use that move, if it stayed intangible, I think that would be a very polarizing move. So, yeah, stick it to floors, stick it to walls and everything. Obviously stick it to people and can help with getting grab opportunities and certain sets. The forcing them to air dodge. So
it's a move they'd have to respect, but as mentioned right now, intangible landmine is like what?
Yeah. I was really surprised when Cal told me this. I'm like, no, there's no way. And I went to check. I'm like, what?
Okay, I guess so. All right. So clear, but the case in point stands though.
Something needs to change about it.
Something definitely needs to change about intangible landmine, but it's leaning towards more, making it hittable and basically towards your suggestion then.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. I guess that covers it since his aerial landmine does the same thing. So, okay, let's go into his supers. Bomb. Could you tell us his level? There's 3 different versions, so could you tell us the AP cost first, and then go into what the different
versions
cost? Yes.
Okay, so all 3 supers cost 150 AP. Mm-hmm. You gotta keep the super cost consistent, obviously.
Right.
But pretty much, I kind of feel like the rocket loadout super is the only one that's actually worth 150. So because it's so good, it causes the other supers to be costing 150 as well. Which I'm okay with that,
right. But what about in against certain matchups where the rocket loadout isn't as viable?
The rocket loadout is okay. So the problem with the rocket loadout is basically the shorter characters. A lot of the characters can just it's basically the same issue as Sir Daniel had. That short characters can just basically just duck under his super.
Right.
Like Sly can just duck under his rocket loadout, or like Toro. So basically, all I would do with the rocket loadout is just stretch the hitbox to be lower. Just stretch the hitbox down a little bit. So you don't get out of jail for free card against this super.
All right. I mean, I'd be fine with that. Yeah. So.
I guess we'll talk about his shotgun now.
Yeah. I know that this is his only. Well, it's maybe not only this outside of situational combos, but I know that this one is his one hit confirmable level 1 confirmed super.
Right. So this is the only super that you can. Well, yeah, this is the only non-situational super that that has a hit confirm. It's also the fastest of his 3 supers. It has the least amount of startup frames. It's a fairly good super. The only problem I have with this super is the hitbox does not match the other shotgun attacks. It's actually shorter. Like the super of the shotgun hitbox is different from the shotguns of his other attacks.
Right. Ooh, okay.
And again, it also has the issue of small characters can duck under this super, and stretching the hitbox, the range and make the hitbox lower so it can hit short characters.
Right. Since obviously you can't use the super in the air. So it's not like, increasing it downwards would like suddenly make it against someone like Cole. Like, suddenly this is now a threat. It's like, no.
Yeah.
But only on the first blast, correct? Since, if he's aiming upwards, it's still like, okay, so someone of average height such as Cole can still duck the second one.
Right. Everybody should be able to still duck the second one.
And I think also, too, one good thing about it, because if you increase the range on it, I know in some instances too, if you have someone near, like on the ground near a wall for Emmett, you can use it kind of like more of a wake up, because their first shot will go, and then if they roll, then they'll get hit by his body as he's doing the up shot as well. And so that's some kind of option. So I think that would make that actually more viable in that way as well. So I think overall that would be pretty good for that move. I mean, make it still like, obviously it's not going to be crazy OP or something, but it's something that will be a better option to use.
Okay. Last one to mention for his level 1, the rifle level 1.
Yeah. So this is one of the worst supers in the game. It's like, straight up. So this super is basically a completely inferior version of his rocket loadout. The option of decreasing the startup of this move is completely out of the window. It would completely break this super. So my idea instead is to make it to where keep the very slow startup, but make it so where he fires 3 shots instead of 1, to where he just goes, one after another. But it's still be possible to dodge in between them if you have good timing. So it'd be kind of like a pseudo ratchet super, except escapable.
What about just making the one bullet longer, so it's more like, I guess, so it would look more like a laser?
So he's only shooting 3 bullets, correct?
Yeah. So I would think it'd be like about 3 squares between each bullet. Like the big thing is, if you just made the projectile longer, like you said earlier, it would still be completely inferior to his rocket loadout, to his rocket super. And I kind of want all 3 supers to have a different use. Like the rocket loadout is basically, it's the big projectile you throw when your opponent's overcommitting to usually attacking your turret. It has a huge area of effect. The shotgun super is the fastest super, and it has the hit confirm. The rifle loadout right now just doesn't do anything that the shotgun and the rocket loadout doesn't already do. I mean, even if it's not that, it should be changed in some way, Yeah, well, I mean, every character can dodge this on reaction. Basically, what I want is just give this super some utility, just some form of utility that the shotgun and rocket loadout doesn't already have. Even if it's not the suggestion I came up with, just something.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. If Sony Santa Monica can come up with something without increasing the startup, because like Bob mentioned, it would kind of break it. So
that would absolutely break Emmett. I guarantee you that would break Emmett.
Yeah, so if they could find something, that'd be great. We ourselves can't really think of anything like solid that we can, Let's scoot on towards his level 2 then. AP cost and any changes if necessary.
Okay, so the AP cost for this super is 325. I really don't have any changes for the super. It's pretty good. I mean, pretty much, I mentioned earlier that the up square thing have less startup. I think that alone would improve the quality of the super, because it would make, basically high mobility characters can get setups quite easily, but this would just make it a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty much all I would do, really. It's fine as it is.
Okie dokie. Alright, level 3 AP cost and changes. Yeah.
Okay, so Emmett's level 3 costs 750 AP.
Mm-hmm.
The only changes I would make to the super is make it so that the bullets, I believe this is the square attack, make it so that it can pass through platforms. Because right now they stop dead on platforms, and it makes the super stage dependent. I mean, it's already pretty bad on like smaller stages, like say Dojo.
Right.
And the other change, which pretty much all the other Emmett mains agree about this, is make it so that the circle attack is basically the final attack when the airstrike. Make it so that you can choose which side you rain down the bullets on. That way you can create some sort of mind game. That way the opponent has to guess rather than, oh well, he did the airstrike. I'm just going to go to the left side of the stage and I'm completely safe.
Something I would augment to that would be visual cue, since when Emmett does this, he always flies in one direction. So I feel like if that, I'm on board with that, but I just like to see like if they added it on rather than it being completely like well, I mean you would know, but your opponent it still would be random. What I would suggest would be more along the lines of like, so if he always flies to the left during his when he does the circle move, so it'd be like if the opponent's paying enough attention, they'll see that if he flies to the right, the bullets will come from the right. Just something like that, since you'd already have to start moving in that direction to dodge it. Like, obviously, if you get the two, if you get the more kills, the less spray, but it'd be more along the lines of, okay, alright, he killed me twice. How, better, I gotta keep an eye out to make sure which way he's going. I'm just gonna, it'd be something along the lines of that, a visual cue.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Also, one thing, Hypernova GN wanted me to mention, I'm pretty much indifferent, kind of disagreeing. He wants it so that the airstrike bullets, I mentioned earlier that bullets should pass through platforms. He wants it so that the airstrike bullets do not pass through platforms, so you can be safe under the platforms. I mean, different opinion again. So
I mean, I can kind of I can kind of agree with that in a way that in the sense that it'd be the one counterbalance. Like Emmett would prefer not to play on stages with platforms in the first place, regardless, since counterpick staging and stuff like that. That would pretty much be the only thing I would have in terms of that. But I mean, like you said, I'm also kind of indifferent towards it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care either way, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense though. How the level 3 operates though. As you said, it does. While it is that can potentially get 3. It's something that's very unlikely once people understand actually the nature of it and how there's actually a sweet spot for the level 3 that players best be looking for.
Right.
It's exactly like Sweet Tooth in that manner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay. Okay, so yeah, that does it for supers. Alright, final segment. Could you just mention his glitches? There were some, small inklings of it mentions before, but let's get them all out of the way now.
Okay, so Emmett has quite a few glitches. Almost all of them hinder him in some way.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think these are all netcode. Most of these are netcode related too. So
still worth mentioning.
Yeah, but so I guess the first thing I was talking about is neutral air square. If you input the first input of the attack, you do, let's say, neutral air square and you hit somebody. If you press any other button, let's say I do, the super R2, which is the super button. You're in the air, so you're not going to get a super. I'm just using this as an example. But if you press R2, the second square will automatically come out. You are completely committed to making the second attack come out. It's kind of this weird input issue.
Okay. I mean, yeah, obviously, that's pretty obvious as to what needs to be done. Just look into whatever causes this weird button thingy. So, all right.
It's very weird.
Okay, rolling on.
So I guess the next glitch is it has something to do with his basically his cooldowns, like the blockers, the turret, the AP generator. Sometimes they just don't come out. Like you summon them, you see the green outline, nothing comes out. And you have to do this 3 or 4 times before something will come out, and this is crippling to Emmett.
Right.
There's also an issue to where this won't. If you try to summon this stuff on like terrain that's not flat, this has an increased chance of happening.
So, like on a small slope, or like for instance, at like the Fearless stage, that small little slope, it has an increased chance of happening there.
Yeah, nothing will come out. I also want to point out that I was testing something with Hypernova. Let's say there are 4 players playing in the game online, right?
Right.
And you're on the stowaway stage, and you try summoning your lockers on the boxes.
Right.
They absolutely will not come out, but only when there are 4 players. If there are 2 players, they will come out.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so it's another one of those things like super bots. Okay, so that's obviously something else to be looked into. I'm not sure if this is a glitch or not. Or even if I should just cut and paste this into a different segment. Okay.
The next glitch is okay. So in this scenario, you have either the shotgun or the rocket loadout. So one thing I haven't mentioned yet is like the rocket loadout has 3. You have 3 ammo for the rocket loadout and 6 ammo for the shotgun loadout.
Right.
So if you use your last bullet and then you immediately press R2, you activate your super, but then you throw away your gun and you waste your AP, and you don't get anything out of it. So this is kind of a scenario to where it's kind of the Emmett's the player's fault for not counting his bullets, but it's still a glitch that probably needs to be fixed.
I mean, yeah, I could definitely see that.
I mean, I've definitely,
It also happens with the grenade count too, doesn't it?
Yeah. You have 3 shots. It's all, if you shoot 2 rockets and then 1 grenade, that still counts towards your 3 ammo,
right,
so to speak. So I mean, I've had this happen to me a few times, and I just feel dumb when it happens. Like,
well, to be fair, part of it is it's like the grenades really shouldn't count as part of that. If that's really how it was intended, the grenades really shouldn't count since it's not even using gun ammo.
Yeah, you throw away your gun after throwing your last grenade.
Yes, the logic behind this is a little bad.
It shouldn't work that way at all. Like, if you fire your last rocket, it should be so that you either make it so that you can, if you use your super, it lets you finish it before throwing away your gun, or just make it so that during the time between you throwing away your gun, you just can't use your super. So
yeah,
it's an easy fix.
Okay. Next glitch.
Okay, so this one has something to do with the turret.
Okay.
There's often a lot of times where I'll see my turret took some damage in the last scuffle, and then I set the full screen. And then I decide, okay, I'm going to refresh my turret's durability. So I summon the new turret on top of the turret. The new turret comes down, it crushes the old turret, and then it gets crushed, and I get no turret.
Yeah, I've seen that happen a couple times.
It's extremely frustrating.
So once again, look into turret. It's like turret hitbox issues with it, along with the move. So another easy fix, I believe.
I would hope so. I think this only happens online though, so I think it's a netcode issue.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay. Okay, this one's a major one. This is the handcuff glitch.
Right.
So this has something to do with the loadout cancel, to where, there's a handcuff glitch to where Emmett basically attach another player's character to his model, and they are helpless until Emmett kills them. This is completely game breaking and is completely unfair to the opponents if this gets abused.
Right. I mean, once it happens, Emmett can just call down an AP generator and just grind his way to level 3 with that.
Very much.
Okay. So, are there any specific moves that Sony Santa Monica should look into to stop this? Since
you should look at how his grabs operate when he's performing the loadout cancel.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, just you want to increase how many frames. You might want to increase how many frames there are before you can trigger the loadout cancel when you're in a grab animation.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that. Anything else?
Let's see. There's also an issue with his rocket launcher, to where if you have your turret down and it shoots a bullet and your rocket collides with the bullet, the rocket will explode prematurely, and you get nothing out of it.
All right, definitely a turret issue related to turrets.
There's also this issue also occurs with the AP generator. I think sometimes when the rocket hits, this gonna sound weird, but when the AP generator is ejecting AP, if the rocket collides with the AP, the rocket explodes.
Derp. Okay, that's dumb.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to operate this way when you're supposed to be shooting behind your turret, and and behind your AP generator or in front of it,
right?
And your own weapons are kind of hindering you in that way.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
So there's also this issue where this is an online-only glitch to where this happens on the opponent screen. You pull your locker out, and on the opponent screen, this will permanently look like a green outline. They won't actually see the locker. They'll never see it come down. It's just a green outline, and they can't tell which. They can't tell if it's the shotgun or the rocket loadout. So that kind of needs to be fixed.
All right, visual glitch. And last glitch, I believe.
The final glitch is something that actually helps Emmett, and it's kind of unfair, is that online, missiles will teleport if you're shooting them too fast with the loadout cancel.
Oh boy. Wow,
yeah.
That's...
So, usually the way this works is, let's say you aim up. On the opponent's screen, it will look like it's going straight, but if you jump into the area to where the rocket actually is on my screen, it's going to count as being hit for you. So the rocket's kind of being in two places in this one.
Yeah. Not really. Well, they need to look into the rocket trajectory. It seems like more than anything for this one, as well as the netcode.
Yeah, it's purely a netcode issue. I think they weren't prepared for rockets being thrown out this fast in conjunction with the loadout cancel. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Bomb, if you could just, since we just went through the glitches, if you could just wrap up the main points, the most important points that should be covered for Emmett's moveset, and I think we can wrap this up.
All right. So starting with the melee, you want the neutral square to be slowed down just a little bit to be around the area of Dante and Kratos. In return, increase the hitbox. Forward square, just make it neutral on block, increase the block stun. Up square, you want to increase the hitboxes for the second and third hits and make it recover about 5 frames faster after the third hit. Down square, make the area effect bigger so it can clear out landmines. Air down square from its maximum height, reduce the recovery just a tad bit. Loadouts, the circle moves. Make the rocket and shotgun loadouts come out faster. And if you don't want to go with the increased area effect for the down square, make these clear out landmines. Make the turret award the opponent 30 AP on destruction rather than being hit. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, and make the turret immune to these instant projectiles instead of the AP generator. For the rifle, forward triangle, make it so that it's neutral on hit up close rather than disadvantaged. And make his air forward triangle, make it where if you fire out all the bullets, the last 2 bullets react the same way as the other bullets. Rocket loadout, make it so that potentially, this is Cal's opinion, make it so that maybe changing the reaction to a launch instead of an eject. Either way. Shotgun, make the shotgun's just a tad bit slower, but make it still faster than the the neutral square.
Right.
Increase the hitboxes, particularly downward. Stress the hitboxes downward, and make the landmine, the sticky grenade, once it acts as a landmine, make it tangible and destructible.
Right.
For the supers, make the rocket super stretch the hitbox out downward so short characters can't duck under it. Make the shotgun super, make it similar to the hitboxes of the other shotgun attacks and stretch the hitboxes down too. The rifle super, do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Do something.
Right.
Make it useful.
Right.
For the level 3, make the bullets pass through platforms and make it so that you can choose which side you can do your final airstrike on.
And, the slight visual cue if he flies to the left and to the right.
Right. Make it so opponents can react to which way you're shooting.
Yep. And glitches were just previously mentioned, and with that, it's the wrap of our Emmett podcast. Remember, guys, these podcasts are sort of collected by the most top performing Emmets around. As we mentioned before, the other Emmets couldn't make it at this time, so with the small window of opportunity closing, getting smaller and smaller, he, our resident Emmett here, collected the notes from the other Emmets and compiled them on top of this. So don't worry. So that the feeling of lack of information is removed. So remember, guys, these podcasts are meant to inform you guys. Spread the word. Give if you know any other Emmets, just pass it on to them. Just to hear what they think of it. And of course, hopefully Sony Santa Monica listens to these and gives them fair choice when their upcoming patch in the fall. And that's about it. And that was me, Domino SNK.
And I'm Bam of the People.
And I am Bombrider.
Yep, and we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.